with YouTube, there's some things that are within your control and there's some things that are outside of your control. A lot of people say about the algorithm, but for me, the algorithm is just another way of saying what are people interested in. You have to try find the overlap between what you're interested in and what people actually want to watch.
What's up, my beautiful freedompreneurs? Today, I'm super excited to have Dillon on the channel. He's going to talk about his journey with his YouTube channel, how he grew it, how he made his first £100. And I'm excited because I know Dillon from Contentpreneurs, an online business community that I'm part of with Ted Carr and some really cool entrepreneurs. And Dillon is very young. I forget, I think you're 19 or 20. I think you were 19 when I met you, and I love to see the young entrepreneurs with the drive. And it was really exciting to connect. I think our connection was natural, and we're just helping each other level up. I'm like almost twice your age, but I love to see the youth like with fire in their souls and like the entrepreneurial spirit. So Dillon, do you want to say hi? Maybe introduce yourself, tell the people who you are and what you're all about.
Yeah, man, sure. I appreciate the intro. It's lovely. So I'm currently 20 when I met Kuba. Last year I was 19. I did pretty well in school. I was always academic, but it never really resonated with me. It was just kind of memorization and just memorizing stuff, writing it down, just training you to be like a good employee. But I always loved sports, and from a young age, I set like high goals for myself. I wanted to be the world's best footballer, so quite a big goal. So when I say
Yeah.
football, I mean soccer for like people in the
Yeah,
US.
yeah. We're ambitious from the start.
For sure, man. And then when I was 18, so a couple of years ago, I went to Spain for like a football scholarship type academy thing. Not like a real high standard, but I went out there. So I was like training like a footballer, kind of living with other teammates, things like that. But I soon realized it wasn't quite for me. Like taking the football that seriously, it just took the fun out of it. Um, it was a nice experience. I learnt a lot. But while I was out there, I kind of had a little bit of I guess you could say like it's a bit cheesy, but a spiritual awakening. I had a lot of free time for introspection and a lot of time just spent outside in nature, just time with myself. So I got into like meditation. My dad recommended a book called Man's Higher Consciousness. I'm not sure if anyone would have heard of it, but
David Hawkins?
no, it's I have read one from him, but no, it's from Hilton Hatima. Now it was a bit
Oh,
esoteric. It was a bit kind of woo woo. But there was something in it that just triggered a thought in my mind, and it got me to start like a raw food diet, like a raw vegan slash fruitarian diet. And when I started that diet, I noticed like huge improvements. Just simple things like my body odor cleared up, had way more energy, my cardio improved with my football, things like that. Um, I just even things like tanning easier, like just little things, digestion improved. So I knew I had to kind of share this with others because it was so profound in my life. And I was never an unhealthy guy. I've never had any ailments or anything like that. Thankfully, my family were quite health conscious. My mum was into nutrition. My dad was like a kickboxer, things like that. Um, but for me, I realized just how many common myths there are and how much misinformation there is around diet. So about a year ago, I had the idea to start a YouTube channel, and I didn't upload the first few videos. I just filmed them and kept them private.
mhm.
But yeah, they were really bad. But that was the start of my journey. And then probably 10 months ago, yeah, 10 months ago now, I think I started taking YouTube a little bit seriously. Not real serious, but just uploading with a bit more intention behind like title, thumbnail, and yeah, just
Yeah.
topic of the video. Yeah.
Can you tell us why did you choose YouTube? Why was
Mm.
YouTube the path for you?
Yeah, good question. For me personally, I heard a few things. So I think it was Andrew Kirby, I think is good friends with Ted. He said something about create where you consume, and create what you consume. So like, I was a big YouTube guy. I watched a lot of YouTube. I listened to a lot of podcasts. So it was something I could see myself doing. And for me, I think long form, I wasn't a big fan of like quick 60-second dopamine hits on Instagram. I didn't use Instagram. So for me, YouTube was like the natural path, and
Mm.
I could just sit down and talk, and it just, yeah, it's something that resonated a bit more, and it just came a bit more naturally.
That makes a lot of sense. I
Mm,
actually love YouTube as well. Like I love long form content about personal development, leveling up in life,
mm.
and like people who have a good message in that realm. You could sit down and like hang out with them. So that's why I feel like I should be doing more too, because that's a really good point that you said that Andrew Kirby told you, like produce in the place that you consume, right? Something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. And how do you plan and decide on like your content
Mm. Yeah,
for
so
you?
at the start I had like I think some people call it like a machine gun philosophy. So it's just get as much content out as possible. Because I knew one, I was going to be so awkward. Two, I wouldn't know the kind of videos I enjoyed making. Yeah, and I just knew I'd learn a lot more skills by getting going. But don't get me wrong, I'd thought about a YouTube channel for years when I was younger, but I let a lot of like limiting beliefs and things like that stop me. Just, like what would people think of me? Why would anyone listen to me? Things like that. So when I finally started, I had the philosophy of just get as many videos out as possible, because I heard just people like Mr. Beast and people like that just say create 100 videos, or just create a lot of videos first, just so you know if it's something for you, and you just improve your skills, because until you start creating, you don't learn too much. So I learned a lot on the job. And then what was your original question? How I come up with ideas?
Yeah, with content.
Yeah. So now there's a little bit more of a thought process behind it. So now, because I'm a bit more into like health coaching, and I'm building a community of like-minded people, now I keep it a little bit more niche. I still show other interests and aspects of myself within the video, but for now, I'll kind of I'll see what other people in my niche are doing, maybe get a little bit of inspiration, but I think of problems that people may have, and struggles that people have, and then I just think like, what's like a solution for that? That's one example. With interviews, because I do a lot of interviews, and that's something I really enjoy. I look at I just try find inspiring people who I'm genuinely curious about, and then I reach out to them. Usually with an intention, like I like to have a slight intention, so I might say, um, how about a 45-minute, an hour conversation about building muscle or something like that. Just whatever I feel like I'm interested in and the audience is interested in. And yeah, I take inspiration from other like popular titles and maybe thumbnails. Yeah, so I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel. I think you can. There's a good book on it, Still Like an Artist. And yeah, just take different aspects from people you admire and just combine them into one. That's something that resonates with me.
So do you think the machine gun method was important for you to get started? And do
Mm,
you still keep that up or now you've kind of evolved?
yeah, good question. I'd say at the start, it's for me personally, it was very important. I think there's very few people who are like amazing on camera initially and just know exactly what they want to upload. Even if you look at channels that have blown up like with their first video, a lot of those individuals have made content in the past, or they've really they've edited the video several times, several takes. So whatever approach you take, you're going to have to end up filming a lot of videos. So for me, I just thought I'll put myself out there and I'll just get started. And some of my early videos with really low like production quality and things like that, they did quite well. I privated some of them now just because some of my thoughts and feelings on like diet and nutrition have changed. But I'd say it was important for me, and I'd say for most people it's quite important, just to get going at the start and not overthink things too much, which is hard because for me, and I'm sure a lot of people, you're like a perfectionist. You really want to master something initially. But yeah, I think getting going is so important. And
So
then
how
obviously,
does it look now?
yeah, yeah, exactly. I think over time it kind of evolves a bit more, maybe for better or for worse. I think I could still learn a few things from my early days. Maybe I could still upload more, and better quality. So yeah, I'd say now it's a little bit more strategic, and now I like to put a little bit more thought behind the video, and yeah, maybe a little bit more editing, things like that. So I'd say now it's maybe 2, 3 times a week I try to aim for in terms of upload frequency, as opposed to when I started, I was like daily video, no matter what, even if it meant like just a couple of minute video. So yeah, it's evolved in terms of that, maybe higher quality, less frequency.
Okay, cool, cool. But I've seen you grew quite the following, like 1.27K you're at right now.
Yeah, something
How
like that.
did you grow to that? Like, what's your strategies for growing your audience on YouTube?
Mm, mm. Yeah. So with YouTube, there's some things that are within your control, and there's some things that are outside of your control. A lot of people say about the algorithm, but for me, the algorithm is just it's just another way of saying what are people interested in. So you have to try find the overlap between what you're interested in and what people actually want to watch. So something that helped me is at the start, I was very hyper niche with my titles. Maybe a title, I can't think of a specific example, but something that would appeal to maybe only 1,000 people in the world. Whereas if when I thought about the benefits, so instead of saying like something specific to a raw vegan diet, maybe if I said the best diet for digestion, something like that, then it's going to be way more applicable. Because you want a video topic that is going to reach more people. It can still be a niche topic, but if your title and packaging limits yourself to like 500 total people, then your video might only get like 50 views. So in terms of growing an audience, I think being authentic is really important. Um, that's key. Like people can tell if you're being fake, if you're not being yourself, because you look at people like I'm sure you've heard of Sam Sulek and people like that who blow up with like no editing. They just sit down, film themselves in the car, film themselves in the gym. They're just like talking to the camera, and they get hundreds of thousands of views, if not millions. So anything can work on YouTube, but just being real, being authentic, um, providing value, not looking to like just get clicks and then not delivering on the promise. If you make a promise with your title or thumbnail or intro, it's really important you deliver on it. Otherwise, you're just building a bad reputation. And yeah,
Mhm.
just thinking of how you can serve others, how you can help others, because ultimately it's a win-win. If you're serving and helping others, it also helps your channel. So yeah, it's like a symbiotic relationship there. So yeah, just and obviously with interviews, if you can get a really interesting guest on the channel, it doesn't have to be a big name, it doesn't have to be a big following. Like one of my first guests was Orville Douglas, also Kev Ramon, people like that. They're not that they weren't that big at the start, but they're quite interesting. They're quite unique. They're fairly polarizing, and they're interesting to listen to. So if you can get like someone like that, you can leverage their credibility. And yeah, I think that's why interviews was something that really resonated with me.
Yeah, the interview part is really cool. You know, Jillian Berry, right?
Yeah.
She interviews lots of people. She interviewed Fully Raw Christina, like huge people,
Mm,
but she'll also interview the girl who has 100 followers, who has an interesting healing journey, healing story.
mm,
That's really cool when I see YouTubers who are like really just sharing interesting people instead of just like the big people.
hmm
That's really cool.
for sure.
Uh, yeah, so how about I know we talked about interviews just now. I think you gave some good strategies. Being authentic,
hmm
being yourself, being real, providing value, basically serving the people, helping others, and following through on the promises you make.
hmm
And then interviews. The interview thing, I know in our entrepreneur world we call it Dream 100. You know
hmm
about the Dream 100, obviously. Can you tell the people like a summary of what that means, the Dream 100?
Yeah, sure. So I believe there's several books on it, several posts, probably several videos. The basic premise is you make a list of 100 people. It could be less, could be more, but 100 people who you'd like to collaborate with in some way. It can either be through interviews, through like a joint venture, like business partnership. It could be a whole bunch of different mediums, but for me, it's interviews. So if you think of like a podcast, That's essentially the Dream 100 method. So you reach out to people on your Dream 100 list and you collaborate with them. And by leveraging their audience, it builds your audience, builds your credibility. You learn new things, your audience learn new things. It's just a win-win, really. I know Ted spoken about in the past, like when he collaborated with Freely, that's when his channel blew up. So it's leveraging other people's audiences and yeah, just collaborating with people because I think as humans, we like truly thrive once we collaborate. I think it's for me, it's really interesting as well because the content's often more entertaining. If I was to sit down and talk for an hour about a topic on my own, it's quite boring, it's quite repetitive. But I think the dialogue, it's almost like a tribal, just stories over the campfire. Yeah. So Dream 100 is just making a list. There's a template I can send to you that I can link below. But yeah,
Cool.
you make a list of people you're interested in. It could be bigger audience than you, smaller audience, no audience, but just people who you want to collaborate with. And ultimately, as you begin ticking those names off your list, you'll notice one, you build new relationships, two, you grow your audience, three, you learn new things, and yeah, there's just so many different benefits. Already, the list at the start it seems really unrealistic, but already I'd say I've ticked off probably like 15 people off my list. And then as you tick people off, you might add more, and it may change. Don't be afraid to like change it over time as like your interests change, and maybe you change niche. Yeah, but yeah, it's really powerful in my mind.
Yeah, I've seen you interview a lot of cool people. Like I think that helps you grow a lot. And
Yeah, I'd
yeah,
say so.
that's cool. Thank you, man. I know everyone's waiting to learn how to make their first 100 pounds or $100 or 100 euros
Mm.
or whatever your currency on YouTube. And I want you to share that insight. But one thing before we get into the money thing, I just want to ask you a practical tip like about your equipment. Is there any equipment you recommend? Like how important is the equipment to get started and then down the line? Because I see you got your headphones on, you got the mic there hanging, and I'm here with like nothing. So I would love to hear your perspective on the equipment.
Yeah, I'd say equipment, it depends on the style of your video. Often people get caught up with equipment and like it stops them creating content. It depends how seriously you want to take it. I think if you're going to be doing a lot of interviews and podcasts, I'd say a mic is probably the best investment you could make. I think this is the Shure MV7 or something like that. I'm not sure how good it will sound on Zoom, but if you tweak a few settings, it can be quite good, and that's just like a simple USB mic. I was gonna get like I think it's called the Shure SM7B. It's the one you see on a lot of podcasts. The issue with that is it's a bit more complicated. It has like a different cable and it takes more tweaking, and there's often issues with the audio volume and things like that. So I think a simple USB mic, this is quite a good one. It's fairly expensive. I can't remember how much, but it's probably a couple of hundred pounds or dollars. But that's probably the single best investment you could make. Headphones, you don't necessarily need them. These are quite big, they're quite bulky. It's not for everyone. You could just use like Apple earbuds. A lot of people recommend headphones just to stop like the echo. There's a lot of software that will take echo out in like post production, but yeah, I think headphones can be good, especially if you're not in like a ideal environment. Like for me, like sometimes my neighbors cut the grass and things like that. So it's good to have a bit of noise cancellation. Also, this mic, I think they call it a dynamic mic. So you have to be quite close to the mic for it to pick up audio. So it doesn't pick up too much background audio. So it's perfect for like podcasting and things like that. There's other types of mics you can get. You can get like clip-on mics, maybe if you're out and about or you want to be a bit further away from the camera or the mic, or you don't want like a big tacky thing. You can get ones like that. I have another mic. I think it's like a Rode mic. I think it's Rode Micro, something like that, that plugs into your phone and it clips on top. And it's like they call it a shotgun mic, and it basically points at you. I can send it to you as well if you want to link it
I've
below.
seen those, I think, and that's different than like these ones.
Yeah, it's different. So it clips on the actual device you're filming on, and
This
it'll
clips.
yeah. So that is a that's like I don't know. I think they call it a lavalier, or yeah, there's some it's something that just clips on you. I'm not sure the specific term. So that's pretty good, especially if
This
you're
clips
out.
on me and it goes into the phone, but
Yeah.
on Zoom it doesn't work for some reason.
hmm Yeah, it takes a little bit of fiddling around with each individual mic, but this one I'm talking about, it plugs into your phone, um, and there's like a bracket that goes on top of my phone. It's like a phone case mount, and it sits on top of my phone, and it points at the. It's like they call it a shotgun mic because it's just like a small barrel, and it points at you, and it picks up audio in that direction, and it's quite useful. You can set up your phone maybe like a couple of meters away, and it will pick up audio facing in that direction.
From
Um,
far away.
yeah, from a bit further away. They use it in like boxing matches, things like that. You'll see, but they're a lot longer. You'll see like a really long shotgun mic. I'm not an expert in audio, but it picks up. It's very good at picking up sound in that one direction. But also, if you've got an iPhone, iPhones are really good. Like even just selfie cam, built-in mic. If you're close enough to it, it looks fine. Especially if you're out in natural daylight. If you're inside, like here, I'm facing a window, but it often casts quite harsh shadows on the face. But a ring light, I've got a ring light over here, but a cheap ring light. So it's just like a circle with a light. Some clip on your phone, others stand up. They're pretty good. You can set that up, and yeah, that will give you more than enough light. So the main focus points are, I'd say, audio quality and lighting. Because if you've got good lighting, you can make a bad camera look like quite good. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say they're the main focus points. And don't stress too much about it. If if the gear's the one thing stopping you creating videos, then I think that's a shame. So I think just getting going, and then you can improve the gear over time.
Yeah, just the what is it, 50 shotgun method or shotgun? What did you call it when you're just blasting out content?
Oh yeah, yeah, machine gun, and I think they call it machine gun and shotgun. But yeah, I'd call it like machine gun and
Machine
sniper. I
gun.
think would be better.
Sorry,
Yeah,
shotgun was the mic.
machine
Machine
gun
gun
for
out your content and then worry about the equipment.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, dude. Let's get into the money, man.
hmm
Um, okay, so how about first of all, because to make money, you have to meet monetization requirements, I'm guessing.
Mm.
How do you
Yeah,
meet that? Like, what's the foundation before you can even make the money? That's important, I think.
yeah. So at the time when I got monetized, it was 1,000 subscribers and I believe 4,000 watch hours. They may have lowered it to 3,000 now, but don't quote me on that. I think it's 4,000 watch hours. So for a lot of people, the watch hours is the hardest thing. They may get like 1,000 subscribers. I've got a couple of friends who've got 1,000 subscribers, but they haven't hit the 4,000 watch hours yet. So that's within like a 365-day period. So all that means is people have to watch your content for 4,000 hours within a year, which may sound like a lot, but the benefit of also doing interviews, which is what I love, is you get a lot of watch hours. You'll easily, if your interview has a few hundred views, you should get, close to 100 watch hours or something like that. Like some of my videos have got like several thousand watch hours. So the longer the video, the usually the more watch hours you'll get. If you're only making YouTube shorts or you're only making like 2-minute videos, you have to get a lot of views to get that watch time. So for most people, that's the biggest roadblock, the watch time. And obviously
Mhm.
hitting 1,000 subscribers is like a big milestone, because once you hit 1,000, then you have momentum and you get the ball rolling. And it's nice because then you have a bit of like self-confidence and a bit of belief. Because when you
Mhm.
start off and you're a small channel and you've got like 30 subscribers and it's just your mum, your dad, and your dog watching you, it's yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's,
yeah.
yeah, it's not the best. But you have to start somewhere, and yeah. So that's the prerequisites and
I'm at like
the requirements.
800 something. I'm
Yeah, you're close.
getting close to 1,000. Once I hit it, maybe like you said, I'll get the ball rolling and I'll take it more serious. Like
hmm
now I feel this energy calling me to take it more serious and just like get that momentum going.
Mm, mm.
So now I'm excited to hit 1,000.
Yeah, man, you'll hit that soon. It's just consistency, I think. Um, yeah, and I've been inconsistent myself in the past, but I think that inconsistency comes from like a lack of clarity. If you're not sure what videos to make or why you're doing it, I think having a reason why you're actually starting a channel is so important. And it could be something as simple as like, I don't know, I wanna just help others, or I want to become financially free and help my family. That could be enough. For me, that's not quite enough to keep me making content. I need something like I want to help others, like improve the quality of their life or stop. I just don't want to see people make the same mistakes that I made early on in my journey. And I just want to share. I feel I have a duty to share information. It's up to people if they want to act on it. But I think as long as the information's out there for everyone to discover, then I'm doing my bit. And yeah, just knowing that you can even help one individual through your content, I think that should be enough to keep you going. Because
Mhm.
yeah, you could, if you think about it, if you're in a room talking to 20 people and a few of them change their life for the better, you'd feel like really touched. You feel like you're doing really good work. But I think because on YouTube we don't see the lives we're impacting directly,
Mhm.
it's very easy to get demotivated and yeah, stop going. But we're reaching thousands of people. Like even a small channel like me, I've reached 100,000. I've had 100,000 views more or less. So let's say I've helped 10 people change their life for the better. That's going to be more than I'd get on the street just approaching people.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
that's a really good point. Sometimes people, like, not everyone comments, not everyone makes themselves seen, but
exactly.
they hear your message, they implement, and you actually do change their lives. I
Mm.
noticed that on my journey as well. I'll meet someone like, yeah, I made that smoothie that you talked about. I'm like, what? You did? No way.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
awesome. So, yeah, so you mentioned a few things, but how about you get more specific on like what are the steps you need to take to make your first
hmm
$100 or pounds?
hmm Yeah. So I'll preface this with like the statement of like if you're in YouTube to get rich quick, or yeah, you're in it just for money or quick money, it's not the platform. Long term, I really think it's probably the best business model. But I think you can definitely get monetized within, if you're serious, I would say within 6 months. Some people do it within a few months. For me, I think I got monetized in March and I started maybe August or September. So it's probably within about a six month time frame, more or less. And that wasn't uploading as consistently later on. At the start, I was really consistent. Then my upload schedule dipped a bit as I just lacked a bit of clarity. So I'd say in terms of steps, obviously publish. I'd say until you publish 50 to 100 videos, you're not even going to know what you really enjoy talking about. You're not going to know what you're passionate about. You're not going to know what your unique advantage is. Um, but once you find a key step to getting monetized quickly, in my mind, is finding something that works. So you have like a proof of concept, and then you just double down on that. So let's say you do an interview and it does really well, and you interviewed a guy on like secrets to longevity or something like that. Maybe then find 5, 10 other guys who are similar and your audience are going to resonate with. Because if you've attracted a lot of views and some subscribers from that kind of content, you're going to have the viewers hooked and engaged and looking for another similar video. So I think when you
Mhm.
have the momentum, double down on it. That's something I wish I did more, because at times I was kind of yo-yoing from like different content styles and topics,
Mhm.
and like your audience are a bit confused because they're like, hang on, I subscribed to you for this and now I'm getting that. So yeah, make 50 to 100
True.
videos. um, I personally prefer a longer format, but it doesn't matter what. But longer format is for me the easiest way to monetize. And you're not going to get rich quick, but as you get more and more views and a bigger audience, you'll find like advertisers pay more money as well. And depending on the niche, that's another important point. The topic and the niche of your channel will dictate how much you get paid. For example, if you're thinking of starting a channel in like the kids toy niche, or something, maybe like something with a young audience with a very low buyer intent, so
Yeah.
they're not probably going to buy, maybe they don't have the funds, maybe they're too young, something like that, your CPM, so how much advertisers pay, is going to be really low. And then RPM is how much money you actually get. Now, for me, RPM, so that's how much money I get per thousand views, it really fluctuates. And when you're a small channel, it's very hard to see trends because your data isn't that significant. But it'll be anywhere from like maybe £2, which is probably a little bit more in dollars, maybe closer to 2.50, $3. It'll go from like £2 to like £7, £8, and it depends on the topic of the video. Health is quite a big one. Health, wealth. So like if you're talking about money, if you're talking about health, travel's quite good. Anything with an older audience and an audience who are looking to buy things is going to bring you in more revenue with AdSense. Because someone like Gillian Berry, for example, I know the stage her channel's at now. I think she brings in several thousand a month. I think she shared. So yeah, it can, once you build it up, it can be quite, can be enough to keep the channel going or maybe live off depending on where you're living in the world. But initially, the gains are quite small, but they begin to compound. It's like it's almost like a monopoly, because like once you carve out authority in your niche and you're recognized, then you get a lot more eyeballs. Advertisers are more willing to like fight over who's buying spots on your videos, and yeah, it compounds. But it's like that graph of just, you know, starting off slow and then before you know it, it's just exponential.
Yeah. So it sounds
Yeah.
like a key thing is to stay consistent,
Hmm.
keep testing out what works best, seeing what works best and replicating that, putting more
Hmm.
content similar to that. So that's what the people want to see. Keep doing
Hmm.
it and be in it for the long term, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. From what I've seen, yeah.
Do you have any other top tips for new YouTubers, someone's just starting out?
Mm. Yeah, so I think having a goal in mind and having a why is so important. Just coming back to that, because if you're doing something, like in my experience, people who fad diet, they if they go from veganism to carnivore or something like that, it's because they're not knowing why they're doing it. If they're not doing it for an ethical reason, maybe they're gonna keep going back and forth. If you don't have strong values and you don't have a strong reason why and you don't have strong principles that you stand by, you're just going to get pulled from pillar to post. You're going to be like, oh, drop shipping's cool. Oh, affiliate marketing. Oh, YouTube. You're not going to stay consistent. So I think having a reason why, and it could be multiple reasons why, but it might just be, I wanna I wanna stop people from making these health mistakes, and I want them to really thrive, and I want to help people, and that could be enough. It could be like, I want to retire my family. Having a reason why, you can write it down every day if you want to strengthen it, but just having that as a reminder, that really helps, and having a goal in mind. So a lot of people, they'll change up their content style because they don't really know why they're doing it. So I think a future vision, I know Ted talks about it, I'm sure you're familiar with it, knowing what like your ideal life looks like and your life design really helps, because then you build a content style and strategy that suits you. For example, if you really, really hate talking to other people, it's probably not wise to start an interview channel just because it's trendy and like it's the latest
Yeah.
thing. Maybe you prefer like being out in nature, and that's your unique advantage. So really tap into that. And you may not know at first. So try out a bunch of different content styles. You don't even have to upload them potentially if you're scared. Like I'd recommend it, because that's when you really get clear. That's another benefit. You get so clear on a topic when you make videos about it, because you have to explain it, you have to teach it to other people. So yeah, just try out a bunch of styles, see what resonates, see what your unique advantage is, and then go from there. And really, ultimately, you start a YouTube channel because you want freedom, you want life on your terms. So I think it's so important you make things you enjoy as well, because a lot of content creators, I've done it in the past as well. We're so hungry for views and money and things like that, and the metrics, that we forget like our own happiness, we forget our own enjoyment, and we forget what we actually enjoy doing. So I think if you can find that overlap between what's in demand, what's popular, and what you enjoy making, I think that will keep you going. That will fuel you, because you only really experience burnout when you're trying to people please. You feel like you're a slave to your audience, and if you're doing that, you might as well work a 9 to 5 job because you're being told what to do anyway. So I think it's a delicate balance between those two things. So yeah, having a reason why, having the goal in mind, and just thinking, make any decision, it's not just YouTube. Is this taking me further away from my goal or more towards my goal? And if it's taking you further away from your goal, it may not be a good decision. So yeah, and other tips, just get going. Really, I can't say it enough. Like I tried little channels when I was younger, like gaming channels, like loads of little cringy things. But until you get started, there's so much you don't know until you get started. You just learn on the job, get started, collaborate with people, and that's another tip. It's so important. If you can find someone who's maybe a little bit ahead of you in your journey, or maybe at a similar stage, and you form like a mastermind group, maybe you meet with them once a week, once a month, you share ideas, you share what's working. It makes it more fun and enjoyable, because when we do things alone, it's just so boring. And you learn more, you hold each other accountable. And yeah, if you look at Mr. Beast, not that he's in this kind of niche, but he had a mastermind group that he used to, I think, maybe meet every day with online in calls and just share YouTube ideas and brainstorm. And yeah, that's honestly the fastest way. And you can find out a lot of things on YouTube as well for free. You really don't have to pay for a course on YouTube. I haven't paid for any course or anything like that. If you just, let's say you film a video and the lighting's bad, in the next video you can just try and improve the lighting. You can look up best ways to improve lighting without a light or something like that, and you can learn different strategies, like, oh, if I hold the camera like this, the shadows are better, or things like that. Everything's available for free online. So yeah.
Yeah, which brings us back to YouTube. Like, that's why YouTube is so cool, because
exactly,
you can literally look up how to do things, and there's so much value. It's like it's a big search engine, right? As opposed to like the reels on the short form content that is just like a quick dopamine hits. This is actually like value, learning, education, entertainment, and all that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Dude, awesome. I think you gave a lot of value today. One of the big things I think is just starting machine gun, like blasting out content until you're finding what works for you. You're getting comfortable. You see what works, you mimic what works, being authentic, giving value, really serving your audience and delivering on the promise of what you titled your video. Sounds like titles and thumbnails are important to research. We didn't talk about that much, but I guess would you say like mimicking what's working, or you want to touch on that actually before?
Yeah, I can very quickly touch on that. Yeah. So I wouldn't overanalyze, get caught in like analysis paralysis. I've done that in the past, but you can draw inspiration. You don't even have to watch the video, but if it's on a similar topic, you can look at their title, look at their thumbnail, and you can draw inspiration. For me, the simpler the thumbnail, the better. Not too many words of text. I personally prefer the text on the left and the image on the right, because as humans, we read from left to right. So you're going to read the text first, then you're going to see the image. You can do it either way, but make the image nice and big, nice and simple, a lot of contrast. And the text, if you can keep it to 3 to 4 words, amazing. 2 words is good. Make it intriguing. You want people to want to click. You want them to be curious. You don't want to give too much away. Like, often if you give away the solution in your title or thumbnail, people feel like they've tried that before. They're like, oh, I've tried a raw vegan diet before. That doesn't work. They're never going to click on it. They write it off before. So you have to create intrigue with your title and thumbnail. Keep it simple. Title, people say like keep it 50 words or less. That can work. A longer title can be good as well. Just quickly in the top of your description, the
50
first
words?
Yeah, some people say like around 50 words. I think 52 words.
For a title?
Yeah, there's a template I'll share. It's like from one of the top packaging guys, and what it allows you to do is brainstorm before you plan a video. I'd say this is good for later stages on YouTube, because when you're early on, you don't have to worry too much, because your videos, without being rude, they're probably going to suck. But yeah, you can like brainstorm a few different thumbnail ideas, and that's another good tip. Now, YouTube, I'm not sure if you need a certain amount of subscribers, but YouTube has a feature, like an A/B test thumbnail feature called Test and Compare, and it lets you test 3 different thumbnails simultaneously. So what you can do is you can have one design, then another, then another. And what it will do is it will calculate which one generated the most watch time and also click through rate. So click through rate just means how many people saw it and what percentage clicked on the video. So that's an important metric to look at, your click through rate. Ideally, you want it above 5%. So that means 5% of the people who see your video clicked on it. Some people say 10%. I think when your video is first launched, if it can be around 10%, that's really good. Then as it reaches more and more people, less of them are going to click on it. So your click through rate will probably lower. So don't worry about that. But if it can stay at a consistent 5%, that's a good sign. If you look at your metrics and your click through rate is like 1%, that's really, really low. So maybe improve your title and thumbnail. I'd say another thing, if you have your title and thumbnail in mind before you make the video, that's so key. The times where I've just winged it with a video, like, oh, what do I want to make? Oh, I'll just make 3 tips. And then I thought, I'll just scrap together like a thumbnail now in 2 seconds. It never performed well. So just having title or thumbnail in mind before you make the video, and let's say 3 key points. There's so many different strategies. I know Ted says a content strategy of proof, promise, plan, or something like that. So the order may change, but in your first 30 seconds, the intro is really, really important. If you can state a bit of proof, a bit of credibility, like, so let's say your title is like 3 tips for weight loss. You could say something like, the promise. So something like, in this video, I'm going to share the 3 tips for weight loss. And then you could say like the proof. You could say, I tried these last year and I lost 20 pounds in 2 months or something like that. That's your proof. So people know, okay, I should listen to this individual. And then plan. You could say like, you could outline the 3 steps, or then you deliver the 3 steps throughout the video. But just, you want to keep people curious. As soon as people feel like they've figured out what you have to say and that's all you have to say, they'll click off the video. I do it myself. Yeah, you need to create like a curiosity loop. And I think questions are powerful for that. Asking
In what way?
questions. So like you could say like, you could create curiosity and create a problem that people didn't even know they had. Like, have you ever had that awful feeling of bloating, and when you walk down the stairs, you just feel it glugging and glugging and glugging, and you've got that intense pain? Well, yeah, I had that too. And in this video, I'll share a few strategies that work for me. And then, when let's say you say tip 1, you could say something like, have you ever eaten a big meal and then you have a fruit salad afterwards and you get that awful feeling? Or here's why, and then you explain about food combining. Or you could start your tip number 1 with a story. But often I do it myself as well. I jump straight into the tips, like, oh, so tip number 1 is this, tip number 2 is that, and it gets really boring and repetitive. As humans, we love stories, we love questions. So as many of them as you can include in your content, the more engaging it's going to be, I think.
Yeah, I like that. Storytelling, asking questions, like more like you're connecting with the audience as opposed to just spitting out facts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, people don't want a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool, man. You shared a lot of value. Interviews are very important for growth. Once you get to your first 1,000 subscribers is a good place to carry on momentum and start getting monetized, it sounds like, especially with the good amount of views. If you implement all these tips that we talked about, you'll get good views. And the most important thing, it sounds like, having a strong why, so that you have like a clear path of like why you're doing this, what you're trying to get, like what your path is going to look like. And then just get going. Start right away.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I just have one final tip. If people are looking to get into interviews or outreach, reach out to people on platforms that aren't so saturated. So like, if people are going to be getting 100 emails a day, maybe email isn't the best place to reach out. What I've found is something like an Instagram voice note or something a bit unusual can be a really good strategy, because like if you send someone a voice note, they feel like they have to click on it to hear it, because they want to hear what you have to say. Whereas if you send a long paragraph like, "Hi, I'm starting an interview channel, blah 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 blah, really love your content, blah blah blah," most people switch off. They just think it's a spam message. So if you send a voice note, they're more likely to listen. It's more personal. They can hear your voice. They can realize you're not like a bot. And yeah, that's got a lot of success for me with outreach, a voice note.
That's a good idea. And that makes me think of, you said don't go where it's already saturated. It's like maybe if you connect with some of these entrepreneurs on somewhere like school, like some sort of more exclusive platform, they'll be more receptive than on Instagram, where they're getting hundreds of DMs a day, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true as well. Yeah. Yeah, because Instagram, it often filters the DM. So I think they changed that setting recently. So maybe Instagram is a bit outdated now. But yeah, school is something I found is really good. If you can join someone's community, provide value, and then maybe ask for a conversation, I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, school is like a whole nother conversation. I know we both like school and we hang out there. But awesome, Dillon, this was amazing. Do you want to tell the people like where they can find you and how they can connect with you?
Yeah, man. So it's just my name, Dillon on Instagram. I occasionally post podcast clips on there, but that's something I'm working on at the minute. Creating more shorts of my podcast, so you can see them on there. I occasionally put things like physique pictures and share some tips on there, things like that. On YouTube, Dillon as well. And yeah, if you go on my link tree as well, which I'll leave down below, I think it's just linktree / and then my name, I think. It's also my free school community that I've recently started, because I saw like a huge need for just like-minded people. And yeah, I've personally benefited from like communities, so yeah, thought I'd start one.
What's the benefit that the viewer is going to get from joining your community?
Yeah, so it's a yeah, that's another thing. CTAs are very important. Yeah, so it's primarily focused on like staying lean, and weight loss, and having high energy. Energy is harder to measure, but if you join the community, if you're looking to lose like a few pounds and be held accountable, be around like-minded people, have a bit of fun, yeah,
And
that's
free.
the place to
Free
go.
community?
Yeah, it's free, man.
Cool. So you can get a lot of like resources, I'm sure, in that community. Awesome, Dillon. Really fun connecting with you, man. This was a fun interview. I think we shared a lot of value. If there's any last words, otherwise, I will catch you in the next video.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you. Great conversation. And yeah, just the last final word for people. Just remember to have fun in life. That's a reminder for myself as well. Just laugh, smile, love, play, have fun, and yeah, enjoy your life as much as you can.
You gotta enjoy the process too, right? Can't get all in your head of like these results. It's like you have a vision, you have your why. Now let's enjoy the process. Let's have fun.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome, man. All right. Much love. Thank you for watching. And check out all of Dillon's links below to find him, connect with him, and also the resources that he mentioned. So peace out until the next one.
Much love, man.
Much love.